There's still a week until the wedding, and your mother, sister, and brother have already moved into my house, I said in amazement when I saw my fiancé's relatives putting their belongings in my closet. My future mother-in-law graciously invited me to enter my own home. Then I calmly said, "But before we begin, please like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you and enjoy." Christina was closing a deal worth $500,000 when her phone buzzed for the third time in the last 10 minutes. She didn't look at it. The client was nervous, shuffling documents, adjusting his tie. He needed confidence, not a realtor who got distracted by calls. "Everything's correct, Mr. Williams," she said, pointing to a clause in the contract. "It states here that the seller vacates the property 14 days after the sale closes. No hidden catches." The client nodded, picked up a pen, and signed the last page. Christina smiled, slid over her copy, and added her signature. Another successful sale. The commission would cover half her monthly expenses. She'd been working at the real estate agency for 4 years, was one of the best, earning around $10,000 a month, sometimes more. She could afford travel, good clothes, restaurants, and most importantly, the house on the outskirts of town that she'd bought 2 years ago from a developer at a promotional price. 1,400 square feet, 2 stories, a small yard. Her territory, her rules. Her phone buzzed again. Christina stepped out of the office and looked at the screen. 3 missed calls from Arthur, 1 text. "Call urgently." She dialed his number, leaning against the building wall. "Christina, hey." His voice sounded stressed. "Listen, I need your help. We're having supply chain issues at the plant. I'm stuck here until tonight. Can you pick up my mom from the train station? She's arriving at 4:30. "Your mom?" Christina repeated. "I didn't know she was coming." "Yeah, sorry, I forgot to tell you. She wants to see the city, stay for a couple days. You don't mind, right?" Christina was silent for a moment. She didn't mind, but the fact that Arthur forgot to warn her was irritating. "Okay, I'll pick her up," she said. "But next time give me advance notice." "Thanks, you're the best. I'll come by tonight." She hung up and checked her watch. 3 hours until the pickup. She'd have time to finish reports and head to the station. She'd met Arthur Bellows 6 months ago at a mutual friend's corporate party. He was an engineer at a manufacturing plant, earned about $70,000 a year, lived in a small 2-bedroom apartment across town. Calm, polite, with a sense of humor. After their 3rd date, he admitted he was serious about her. Christina liked his directness. They'd been dating 4 months when he proposed without fanfare, over dinner at the cafe where they'd first kissed. He pulled out a box with a ring, looked into her eyes, and said he wanted to be with her always. Christina said yes. They set the wedding for early summer, 6 months away. She'd met his mother, Linda Peterson, twice. The first time was when Linda came for Arthur's birthday, a heavy-set woman in her mid-50s with dyed auburn hair and a loud voice. She worked as an accountant at a county clinic, lived in a 1-bedroom apartment in a nearby town. Throughout the visit, she peppered Christina with questions about her salary, about the house, about how she'd bought it. "At your age, 30 years old, owning a place like this. Good for you," she said, smiling tightly. "Arthur told me about it. So all the paperwork's in order? Inheritance, I bet." "No, I bought it myself," Christina answered. "I took out a mortgage and paid it off early." "Wow, so you make good money." "My Arthur's always been modest, never reaches for too much." Christina thought there was some double meaning in those words, but she said nothing. The second time they met was a month ago when Linda came to town again. This time she insisted on a meeting with all 3 of them, said she wanted to discuss the wedding. At the restaurant table, she pulled out a notebook and started reading off a guest list. "From my side, I'm inviting 23 people," she said. "Relatives, colleagues. Arthur will add his friends." "And how many are you inviting?" "About 15, Christina answered. "Parents, brother, friends, colleagues." "Not many," Linda noted. "A wedding should be big. Plus, I have a sister in Virginia. She'll come with her son. And my brother, he's got a wife and 3 kids. We need to account for them too. Christina glanced at Arthur. He nodded in agreement. Okay, we'll account for them, Christina said, feeling mild irritation. And where will you have the reception? Her future mother-in-law continued. I was thinking, maybe a restaurant will be too expensive. Why don't we do it at your house? There's plenty of room. We'll set up a tent in the yard. I'll do the cooking myself. It'll be cheaper. Christina felt something tighten inside. No, she said calmly but firmly. The wedding will be at a restaurant. I'm already booking a venue. Linda raised her eyebrows. Well, why throw money away? It'll be family. They won't mind. I mind, Christina replied. I want the wedding at a restaurant, and the house is my personal space. An awkward pause hung in the air. Arthur cleared his throat. Mom, Christina's right. It's our decision. Linda pursed her lips, but nodded. Fine, have it your way. Just don't complain later when you've got no money left. Christina smiled politely, but internally she filed away that moment. She wasn't used to anyone telling her where and how to celebrate her own wedding. Now, standing on the station platform, she remembered that conversation again. Linda emerged from the train car with a large bag and a package in her hands. Seeing Christina, she waved. Oh, Christina dear, thanks for picking me up. Where's Arthur? Got held up at work, Christina answered, taking the bag. He'll come by tonight. I see. My boy works hard. Linda sighed. Are you taking me to your place or to a hotel? To my place, of course, Christina replied, though Arthur hadn't actually asked for that. They got in the car and drove through the city. Linda chattered non-stop about the journey, the weather, how tired she was from work. Christina listened with half an ear, nodding, responding in monosyllables. When they arrived at the house, Linda got out of the car and looked around. Wow, how beautiful. Big yard, solid house. You live here alone? Yes, Christina answered, opening the door. Come in. Linda walked inside and immediately began touring the rooms, peering into corners, touching furniture. Fresh renovation, she commented. Nice kitchen. How many bedrooms? 3, Christina answered, leading her upstairs. You can stay in this one. Thanks, dear. And whose room is this? Linda pointed to a closed door. My bedroom. And that's the office. I see. The future mother-in-law nodded. Plenty of space. Good thing the house is so big. When Arthur moves in, you'll have room to spread out. Christina said nothing. They hadn't specifically discussed Arthur moving in yet. He'd mentioned wanting to live together after the wedding, but they hadn't worked out the details. Arthur came over that evening. They had dinner together. Linda told stories from Arthur's childhood, laughed, was animated. Christina smiled, kept up the conversation, but felt some tension. Something about her future mother-in-law's manner was unsettling. The next day, Christina left early for work and returned in the evening to find the living room, furniture rearranged. The couch was against a different wall. The armchair moved to the window. Linda, did you rearrange the furniture? She asked, trying to speak calmly. Oh, yes. Linda came out of the kitchen with a dish towel in her hands. I thought it seemed more convenient this way. The couch against the wall creates more space. You don't mind, do you? I do mind, Christina answered firmly. Please put everything back the way it was. Linda raised her eyebrows in surprise. Oh, come on, it's such a small thing. It's not a small thing to me. Christina looked her in the eye. This is my house, and I want the furniture arranged the way I decided. Silence hung in the air. Linda pressed her lips together, but nodded. Fine, if it's that important. Christina called Arthur and asked him to come help move the furniture back. He arrived within an hour and silently moved the couch and chairs back. His mother stood to the side, watching with a displeased expression. Arthur, she made a fuss over a couch, she said when he finished. I was just trying to help. Mom, it's not your house, he replied wearily. Don't change things without asking. Linda snorted and went to her room. Christina looked at Arthur. Thanks for backing me up. Of course. He hugged her. Sorry about my mom. She's used to doing everything her own way. I noticed. 2 days later, Linda went back to her town. Christina drove her to the station, said a polite goodbye, but breathed a relieved sigh when the train pulled away. 3 weeks passed. There was a month and a week until the wedding. Christina was handling the final preparations, ordering the bridal bouquet, confirming the restaurant menu, arranging with the photographer. Arthur helped with organization, but was often delayed at work. One evening, as they sat in her living room discussing the guest list, he said, Listen, Mom called again, asking if she could come early, 2 weeks before the wedding. Says she wants to help with preparations. Christina put down her notebook and looked at him. Why does she need to come 2 weeks early? Well, she wants to be useful. Says she can help with decorating the venue, shopping. Arthur, I've already organized everything. I don't need help. I understand, but it's important to her to feel part of the process. She's the mother. She's worried. Christina sighed. Fine. She can come a week before, not earlier. Deal. Arthur smiled and kissed her cheek. But the very next day, he called to say his mother was coming in 3 days anyway. She already bought the ticket, he reported in a guilty tone. I couldn't talk her out of it. Christina clenched her teeth. Arthur, we agreed on a week. I know, but she insisted so much. Please forgive me. She wanted to say it wasn't right, that he needed to keep his word, but she held back. She'd let it slide this once. Linda arrived with a huge suitcase and 3 bags. Christina met her at the station and drove her to the house. Oh, how I miss this house! Linda exclaimed, entering. I'll unpack and we'll start preparing for the wedding. Linda, I really am managing fine on my own, Christina said. You don't have to. Oh, don't be silly, dear. I'm happy to help. Let me first go shopping, buy groceries. Got to feed you properly. You're probably living on sandwiches. I eat normally, thank you. But Linda had already gone to her room to unpack. Christina stayed in the living room, feeling irritation building inside. That evening, the future mother-in-law cooked dinner, set the table, and called Christina and Arthur, who'd arrived after work. There, I cooked for 3 hours, she announced proudly. Eat up, don't be shy. Dinner was abundant. Fried potatoes, meatloaf, salad, juice. Christina thanked her and ate a little, though she wasn't hungry. Arthur, have you lost weight? Linda noticed, serving her son seconds. Need to fatten you up before the wedding. Mom, I look fine, he waved her off. What do you mean, fine? Your skin and bones. Christina, don't you feed him. Christina looked up. Arthur's an adult. He decides what to eat. Well, sure. Linda grimaced. But he's always loved home cooking, not your fancy restaurants. Christina said nothing, finished her salad, and got up from the table. Thanks for dinner. I'm going to work. She went to her office and closed the door. Arthur came in half an hour later. Don't be upset with Mom, he said. She's just caring in her own way. Arthur, your mom implied I don't feed you. That's unpleasant. She didn't mean any harm. She's just worried. I understand she's worried, but I'm uncomfortable with comments like that. He sighed and hugged her. Just bear with it a little longer. After the wedding, she'll leave and everything will be fine. Christina nodded, but inside she had doubts. The next morning, she woke to the sound of a vacuum cleaner running. She went downstairs to see Linda cleaning the living room. Good morning. Linda shouted over the noise. I decided to tidy up. You've got dust on the shelves, needs wiping. Christina turned off the vacuum. Linda, I clean myself. You don't need to. Oh, come on, I'm helping. You're rushing to work, and I'm free. I didn't ask for help, Christina said firmly. Please don't touch my things. Linda straightened up and looked at her, hurt. Well, excuse me. I was just trying to help. Christina turned and went to the kitchen to make coffee. Her hands were shaking from restrained irritation. She understood she needed to have a serious talk with Arthur, but kept putting off the conversation. With a month and a week until the wedding, she didn't want to cause a scene. During the day, while Christina was at work, Linda called her. "Christina, dear, I was thinking," she began in a sweet voice, "maybe we could invite some more of my friends to the wedding? About 10 people. They'll be offended if I don't invite them." "Linda, the guest list is already finalized. We've paid the restaurant based on head count." "So what? Just pay a little more." "No," Christina answered shortly. "The list isn't changing." A pause hung in the air. "You're kind of cheap," Linda suddenly said. "A wedding's a big celebration, and you're economizing on people." Christina felt something clench inside. "I'm not cheap. I'm planning the wedding according to my budget and my rules. If you don't like it, you don't have to come." "What do you mean, not come? I'm the groom's mother." "Then respect our decisions." Christina hung up. That evening Arthur came over upset. "Mom was crying," he said. "Says you offended her." "I didn't offend her. I refused additional guests we hadn't discussed. But she just wanted—" "Arthur," Christina interrupted, "your mother constantly tries to impose her rules, rearranges furniture, cooks without asking, cleans even though I asked her not to touch my things, and now she's calling me cheap. This is unacceptable." He rubbed his face with his hands. "Okay, I'll talk to her. I promise." "You've already talked. Nothing changes. This time I'll be firmer." Christina looked at him for a long moment. "Okay, I'm waiting." Arthur talked with his mother that same evening. Christina heard snatches of conversation from behind the closed door. Linda was indignant, proving something. Arthur responded more quietly but firmly. When he came out, he said, "I explained to her. There won't be any more of this." The next 2 days passed calmly. Linda behaved quietly, didn't offer advice, only cooked for herself. Christina felt relieved. Maybe the talk really did help. But on the 3rd day, when she returned from work, she discovered an unfamiliar woman of about 50 sitting in the living room. She was on the couch, drinking tea. Linda sat beside her. "Ah, Christina!" Her mother-in-law-to-be brightened. "Meet my sister Valerie. She came from Virginia." Christina stopped in the doorway. "Hello," she said. "Arthur mentioned you'd be coming for the wedding." "Well, yes, for the wedding," Valerie confirmed. "But Linda invited me early, said I could visit. I came for a week. You don't mind?" Christina turned her gaze to Linda. "Can we talk in private?" They went to the kitchen. Christina closed the door. "Why did you invite your sister without my permission?" "Oh, what's the difference?" Linda waved dismissively. "The house is big, there's plenty of room." "There is a difference. This is my house, and I decide who to invite here." "Don't be so cheap, Christina. This is my sister. She came from far away." "Then get her a hotel room," Christina said coldly. "She's not staying here." Linda's mouth dropped open in outrage. "Are you crazy? Throwing out relatives?" "I didn't invite anyone, and I'm not obligated to house people I wasn't warned about." Christina went back to the living room. "Valerie, I'm sorry, but I can't accommodate you. Linda didn't clear your arrival with me." Valerie looked at her sister in confusion. "Linda, you said—" I said, Linda bristled. "But see what kind of bride Arthur's got, cheap and mean." Christina took out her phone and dialed Arthur's number. "Come over right now," she said shortly. "Urgent." He arrived in 20 minutes. Christina explained the situation. Arthur looked at his mother. "Mom, you promised not to do this." "I'm not doing anything wrong. This is my sister." "You should have asked Christina's permission." "Why ask? We're family." "That's not how it works," Arthur said firmly. "Val, I'm sorry, but Mom will have to get you a hotel room." Valerie silently gathered her things and left with Linda, who booked them a room at an inexpensive hotel near the station. When they'd left, Christina sat on the couch and covered her face with her hands. "I can't do this anymore," she said. Arthur sat beside her and put his arm around her. "I'm sorry. I thought she understood." "Your mother doesn't understand the word no. She does what she wants and thinks I'm cheap because I'm defending my boundaries." "I know. I'll have a serious talk with her." "You've already talked twice. This time I'll be firmer." Christina looked at him. "If you're not, I'll make my own decision." He nodded and kissed her forehead. The next day Linda returned, but was tensely polite. She didn't comment, didn't offer advice, stayed in her room. Valerie went back to Virginia after 2 days, offended and unhappy. 2 weeks until the wedding. Christina handled the final details, picking up the dress from the tailor, arranging with the DJ, confirming the music. Arthur helped, but looked tired. He was having problems with a project at work and stayed late. One evening, Christina heard Linda talking on the phone in the kitchen. Her voice was loud and indignant. "Yeah, can you imagine, Helen? Cheap beyond belief. Huge house, but won't let guests stay. Poor Arthur doesn't even understand who he's marrying." Christina froze in the hallway, listening further. "Well, whatever. After the wedding, we'll settle in there. She won't have a choice. The property will become joint anyway." Something inside broke. Christina walked into the kitchen. Linda turned around and hastily ended the call. "Oh, Christina, dear." "What do you mean settle in?" she asked in an icy tone. "Oh, what? That was just talk," Linda stammered. "No, explain. Are you planning to move in here?" Linda straightened up and looked at her defiantly. "What's wrong with that? Arthur's my son. Where he lives, I live. We're family." "You're not moving into my house," Christina said slowly and clearly. "Never. We'll see about that. After the wedding, the property becomes joint. And I have rights." "No," Christina interrupted. "The house is in my name, bought before marriage. It won't become joint property. And if Arthur marries me, that doesn't mean I'm obligated to take you in." Linda paled with anger. "So you're just taking my Arthur for his money?" "No," Christina answered coldly. "I'm marrying him because I love him. But I'm not letting you in here. If that's a problem, cancel the wedding." She turned and left. Her heart was pounding. Her hands were shaking. Christina went upstairs to her bedroom, locked the door and sat on the bed. Inside, everything was boiling. She realized she couldn't take it anymore. Arthur came over that evening. Linda immediately pounced on him with complaints. "She called me awful names. She's kicking me out of the house. She doesn't respect your mother." "Mom, calm down," Arthur said wearily. "Let's figure this out." Christina came downstairs and looked at both of them. "Arthur, your mother is planning to move in here after the wedding. Did you know about this?" He looked at his mother in confusion. "Mom, we talked about this." "We didn't talk about anything," Linda exclaimed. "I'm your mother, and I have the right to live with you." "No," Arthur said quietly but firmly. "We're going to live separately. You're betraying me for this. "Mom, enough!" Arthur raised his voice. "Christina is my fiancée, and I won't let you insult her." Linda burst into tears and ran to her room, slamming the door. Arthur sank onto the couch, exhausted. "I'm sorry," he said. "I had no idea she was this." "I knew," Christina answered. "I felt it from the beginning." "What do we do now?" "Your mother needs to leave tomorrow." "Okay, I'll tell her." In the morning, Linda packed her things silently with red eyes. Arthur called a taxi, walked her to the station, and returned 2 hours later looking drained. "She left," he said. "Says she's not coming to the wedding." Christina sighed. "Maybe that's for the best." "No, it's not better. She's my mother, and I want her at the wedding." Then talk to her again. Explain that she crossed every boundary. "I'll try." 10 days until the wedding. Linda didn't call or text. Arthur tried to reach her, but she kept hanging up. Christina felt relieved, though she understood Arthur was suffering. She focused on work, met with friends, checked the final wedding details. Everything was going according to plan. The dress hung in the closet, shoes were ready, bouquet ordered. All that remained was to wait for the big day. One evening, 8 days before the wedding, Arthur came over looking agitated. "Mom agreed to come," he announced. "I talked to her for a long time. She promised to behave normally." "Good," Christina answered, though she felt wary inside. "She wants to come 3 days before the wedding. Says she'll help with final preparations." "Arthur, I don't want her living here again. But it's only for 3 days. Please bear with it. It's important to me." Christina looked at him. He looked pleading, tired. "Only for 3 days," she agreed. "And no attempts to take charge." "I promise." But the calm turned out to be deceptive. The next day, Arthur called to say there was a crisis at the plant. He needed to go on a 2-day business trip to a neighboring city to resolve issues with suppliers. Right now. Christina was surprised. "The wedding's in a week." "I know, but it's urgent. I'll be back the day after tomorrow, I promise. Just keep me updated if you need anything." "Okay," she sighed. He left early in the morning. Christina stayed alone, worked from home, answered client emails. The day passed quietly. In the evening, she made herself dinner, watched a series, went to bed early. The next day, she left for a meeting with a client downtown. The meeting ran long. Then there was another, then a third. Christina didn't get home until 7 in the evening, tired and hungry. When she pulled up to the house, she saw an unfamiliar car in the driveway. An old gray sedan parked next to her Honda. Christina frowned, got out of the car, and approached the front door. The door was ajar. She pushed it open and went inside. In the entryway, 4 large bags and 2 suitcases sat on the floor. Strange jackets hung on the coat rack. Voices came from the living room. Christina walked in and froze. On her couch sat Linda. Next to her was a young woman in her mid-20s with short hair and a guy about the same age in a tracksuit. They were drinking tea, laughing, talking. On the coffee table lay sandwiches and cookies. Linda saw Christina and smiled broadly. "Ah, Christina dear, there you are. Meet my daughter Inna and son Max, Arthur's brother and sister. They came to help prepare for the wedding." Christina stood silently, processing what she'd heard. She knew Arthur had a brother and sister from his father's first marriage, but they lived in another state and he rarely saw them. No one had said they'd be coming early. Inna stood up and extended her hand. "Hi, Christina. Mom's told us so much about you." Christina didn't shake her hand. She turned her gaze to Linda. "Why are they here now?" "What do you mean, why?" Linda answered in surprise. "They'll help. Inna knows about decorations. Max will bring a car for the wedding." "I didn't invite them," Christina said in an even voice. "Oh, come on, we'll be family soon. Arthur won't mind." Christina took out her phone and dialed Arthur's number. He didn't answer right away. "Christina, hi. I'm in a meeting. I'll call back." "No," she interrupted. "Answer now. Your mother, sister, and brother are at my house. Did you know about this?" A pause. "What? Which ones?" "Sister and brother. Inna and Max. They're sitting in my living room, drinking tea." "I didn't know. Mom didn't say anything." "Of course she didn't. Come over now." "I'm on a business trip. I won't be back until tomorrow evening." "Then deal with it by phone. Immediately." She put it on speaker and held the phone toward Linda. "Mom, what's going on?" Arthur asked. "Oh, Arthur dear, nothing special," she answered breezily. "I invited Inna and Max. Thought you wouldn't mind. They want to be at your wedding. They should come on the wedding day, not now. And I told you, no surprises." "What surprises, son? We just want to help." "Mom, you need to leave right now." Linda grimaced. She's messing with your head. Your Christina's throwing out your own family. Mom, enough. I said leave. We're not leaving, Linda suddenly answered sharply. We're already here unpacked. Where would we go now? Christina took the phone back and turned off the speaker. Arthur, I'm giving them 10 minutes to pack, she said quietly. If they don't leave, I'm calling the police. Christina, please don't. 10 minutes. She hung up and looked at Linda. Pack your things. Leave. Linda jumped up from the couch and jabbed a finger at her. Who do you think you are giving orders? This is my son's future house, which means it's my house too. No, Christina said in an icy tone. This is my house, and you're not welcome here. Inna, Max, don't touch your things, Linda commanded. We're not going anywhere. Inna and Max exchanged uncertain glances. Christina took out her phone and dialed the police. Hello. I'd like to report an unlawful entry into my home. 3 people are refusing to leave my property. Linda went pale. Are you insane? Calling the police on us? Yes, Christina answered calmly, continuing to speak with the operator. The address is 12 Garden Street. I'll be waiting for an officer. She hung up and sat in the armchair, crossing her arms. You can leave on your own or wait for the police. Your choice. Inna grabbed her jacket. Max, let's go. I don't want trouble. Stop, Linda shouted. We have the right to be here. No, you don't, Christina countered. I didn't invite you. You don't have keys. You entered without permission. Arthur, let us in. Arthur's on a business trip. How did you get inside? Linda hesitated. Well, the door wasn't locked. You entered someone else's home without permission. That's a crime. Max was already dragging suitcases toward the exit. Inna was helping him. Linda stood in the middle of the living room, red with anger and humiliation. Arthur will leave you, she whispered, when he finds out what you did to his family. Arthur knows what's happening, Christina replied, and he's on my side. Within 5 minutes, they'd loaded everything into the car and left. The police arrived 10 minutes after their departure. Christina explained the situation, showed documentation for the house, gave witness contacts. The officers wrote up a report and left. Christina sat alone in the empty house, sat on the couch that strangers had touched, and felt everything inside compress into a tight knot. She picked up her phone and called Arthur. Did they leave? He asked anxiously. Yes, I called the police. They got scared and left on their own. God, Christina, I'm sorry. I didn't know Mom would pull something like this. Arthur, she said slowly, I need to think. About what? About us. About the wedding. A pause. Christina, please don't. I'll fix everything. I'll talk to Mom. She won't do this again. You've said that 5 times already. I know, but now I really understand it's gone too far. It went too far when she first moved my furniture, Christina said wearily. And today she brought people into my house without permission, and they were planning to stay. I understand, and I'm on your side. But you're on a business trip, and your mother is here. And she does whatever she wants. Christina, I need time. She hung up. She spent the whole evening alone, sorting through her thoughts, trying to understand what to do next. There was a week until the wedding. Invitations had been sent, the restaurant was paid for. Guests had RSVP'd. But inside, a heavy feeling was growing that something was wrong. The next day, Arthur returned from the trip early, came over in the evening, looking exhausted. Forgive me, he said, entering. I talked to Mom, told her she's crossing every line. She promised not to do it again. How many times has she already promised? Christina asked. I know, but this time I was firmer. I said if she pulls something like this again, I'll stop communicating with her. And how did she react? She cried, said I betrayed her, but she agreed. Christina sighed. Arthur, I'm scared. Your mother doesn't respect me, doesn't respect my boundaries, and you're constantly stuck between us. I know, and I'm sorry, but I love you and I want us to get married. I promise. After the wedding, I'll limit her presence in our lives. Can you really handle it? Yes, I promise. She looked into his eyes. She wanted to believe him. She nodded. Okay, let's continue with the preparations. The next few days passed in a blur. Christina was picking up final details, meeting with organizers, checking the guest list. Linda didn't show up, didn't call. Arthur said she was offended and staying home, but promised she'd come to the wedding. 3 days before the ceremony, Christina was out all day for work. She had an important meeting with a major client who wanted to buy commercial property. The meeting went well. They agreed on the deal and signed. Christina returned home in high spirits around 8 in the evening. When she pulled up to the house, she saw that unfamiliar car in the driveway again, that same gray sedan. Her heart sank. She got out of the car and slowly approached the door. The door was wide open. Christina went inside. In the entryway stood the same bags and suitcases as last time, but now there were more. Strange coats hung on the rack. For pairs of unfamiliar shoes sat on the floor. She walked into the living room. On the couch sat Linda, with Ina and Max beside her. They were talking, laughing. On the table lay sandwiches and a pot of soup. Linda turned her head and saw Christina. Well, here's the lady of the house, she said with a smirk. Come in, don't be shy. Christina stopped, staring at them. Inside, everything went cold. What are you doing here? What do you mean? Linda said in surprise, getting ready for the wedding. Arthur gave us permission to stay here until the ceremony. Said you wouldn't mind. Where's Arthur? At work, running late. Said he'd come by later. Christina took out her phone and dialed his number. He didn't answer immediately. Christina, hi. I can't talk right now. Arthur, your mother, sister, and brother are in my house again. Did you give them permission? A long pause. Aye, they called this morning. Said they wanted to stay here before the wedding. I thought you wouldn't mind. You thought I wouldn't mind after what happened? Well, Mom promised to behave. Arthur, we talked seriously about this. I specifically said, no one without my consent. I'm sorry. I thought. You didn't think. You just gave in to her. Again. Christina, just bear with it for 3 more days. The wedding's soon, they'll leave. No, she said coldly. They're leaving right now. Please don't make a scene. She hung up. She looked at Linda. Pack your things. Leave. Linda laughed. Oh, what again? Arthur himself said we could be here. Arthur doesn't have the right to invite anyone to my house without my permission. This is my property. After the wedding, it'll be joint, Linda snapped. And we're family. We'll all live together. Christina slowly walked across the room, stopped at the window, turned around. Repeat what you just said. I said that after the wedding, we'll live here. Linda stood up and crossed her arms. What? Thought you'd get rid of us. Not a chance. Arthur's my son, and where he is, I am. Christina looked at Ina and Max. Are you planning to live here too? Ina nodded, uncertainly. Well, Mom said there's plenty of room. I see. Christina took out her phone. You calling the police again? Linda smirked. We already made duplicate keys. You can't kick us out. Christina froze. What keys? Linda pulled a key ring from her pocket and shook it. These ones. Arthur gave us his. We made copies. So this is our house now, too. Something inside finally snapped. Christina dialed Arthur's number again. You gave them your keys to my house, she asked in an icy voice. Mom asked, said they needed to come by early. And you gave keys to my house without asking me. Christina, what's the big deal? What's the big deal? She felt her hands start to shake. Your mother made duplicates and says she's planning to live here after the wedding, along with your brother and sister. In my house. She what? I didn't tell her that. But you gave her the keys, just so they could get in. Arthur, I'm done talking. She hung up. Linda was watching her triumphantly. So understand now? The house is joint now, and you're just a bride who doesn't get to decide anything. Christina walked up to her, looked her straight in the eye. Get out of my house. Immediately. We're not leaving, Linda smirked. We have keys. We have the right to be here. No, you don't. I'm calling the police. Go ahead. We're already settled in. Put our stuff in the closets. Christina turned and went upstairs, opened the door to the guest bedroom. Linda's things were laid out on the bed. She opened another bedroom, Inna and Max's things. She went into her own bedroom, where strange dresses and shirts hung in her closet. She came back downstairs. Linda stood in the living room, smiling smugly. Well, see, we're already living here. Christina exhaled slowly. Inside was icy fury. There's still a week until the wedding, and your mother, sister, and brother have already moved into my house, she said, staring straight at Linda. Linda shrugged. Well, yeah, we moved in. So what? The wedding's soon. We'll be one family. Christina walked past her to the kitchen, saw strange groceries in her refrigerator, came back to the living room. You put your things in my closets, she stated. Of course. Plenty of room. Why waste it? And you think you have the right to be here? Of course we do. Arthur gave permission. Christina looked at her for a long moment, then slowly said, Linda, when I saw you and your children putting your things in my closet, I was amazed. And when you graciously invited me to enter my own home, I realized you've completely lost all sense of boundaries. She took a step forward. Her voice became calm but hard. Get out. All of you. Out of my house. I didn't invite anyone. Linda laughed. Who do you think you are? I'm the groom's mother. You unlawfully entered my home. You have no right to be here. We have keys. Arthur gave them. Arthur isn't the owner. He had no right to give you keys. We're not leaving. Linda sat on the couch and crossed her arms. Call the police, call whoever. We're staying. Christina took out her phone and dialed the police. Good evening. I'd like to report an unlawful entry into my home. 3 people illegally obtained duplicate keys and moved into my house without my permission. They're refusing to leave. Linda paled. You're insane. We're going to be family. No, Christina answered coldly. We're not family. The address is 12 Garden Street. Please come. She hung up. Inna jumped up from the couch. Mom, let's go. I don't want trouble with the police. Sit down. Linda barked. We're not going anywhere. Max was already packing. Mom, she really called the cops? Let her. They can't do anything to us. Christina sat in the armchair, crossed her legs, looked at her watch. Police should be here in about 15 minutes. Linda paced the living room, muttering about ingratitude and cheapness. Inna and Max exchanged nervous glances but didn't pack yet. 10 minutes later, Arthur burst into the house, looking confused and worried. What's happening, Christina? Did you really call the police? Yes, she answered calmly. Your mother, sister, and brother illegally moved into my house. They got duplicate keys without my permission, put their things in my closets, and declared they're staying to live here. I asked them to leave. They refused. So I called the police. Arthur looked at his mother. Mom, is this true? Arthur dear, what are you saying? I just wanted to help prepare for the wedding. She misunderstood. You said you'd stay here to live after the wedding, Christina reminded her, word for word. I was joking, Linda exclaimed. Isn't that obvious? No, it's not obvious, Christina replied, because you've tried to move in here twice without permission. This is a pattern of behavior. Arthur ran his hand over his face. Mom, pack your things. Leave. Son, what are you saying? I said leave, Arthur raised his voice. You've crossed every line. I can't tolerate this anymore. Linda started crying. You're betraying me, your own mother. Mom, be quiet, Arthur interrupted coldly. Christina's right. You've behaved terribly. I'm not going to cover for you anymore. Linda sobbed but started packing. Ina and Max helped her silently. Arthur stood to the side, looking out the window. 5 minutes later, the police arrived. 2 officers entered the house. Christina explained the situation, showed property documents, told them about the duplicate keys. The officers questioned Linda, who tried to justify herself but got tangled in her story. Ma'am, did you really obtain duplicate keys without the owner's permission? The senior officer asked. Well, my son gave me the keys. Your son isn't the property owner. You had no right to make duplicates. This could be classified as unlawful entry into a dwelling. Linda went pale. I didn't know. Now you know. Leave the premises voluntarily, or we'll file a report. She nodded, wiping tears. Ina and Max had already taken everything out to the yard. Arthur was helping them load the car. When they finished, Linda approached Christina. You'll regret this, she whispered. Arthur will leave you. Maybe, Christina answered calmly. But that will be my decision. Linda turned and left. Got in a car with Ina and Max Arthur, walked them to the gate, and returned to the house. The officers wrote up a report, took statements, confiscated the duplicate keys from Linda, and left half an hour later. Christina was left alone with Arthur. He stood in the middle of the living room, looking lost and defeated. I'm sorry, he said quietly. I didn't think she'd go this far. Christina was silent. I'll fix everything. I'll talk to her, explain. No, Arthur, she interrupted. You won't fix it. He looked up at her. What do you mean? I mean there won't be a wedding. Silence hung in the air. You're serious? Yes. I'm not marrying you anymore. Christina, please. I know Mom went too far, but... Arthur, it's not just about your mother. She looked into his eyes. It's about the fact that you can't say no to her. You promised me 5 times she wouldn't do this again. And every time you gave her another chance. You gave her keys to my house without my permission. You let her cross my boundaries again and again. I'll change, I promise. No, you won't, because you don't see the problem. To you, it's just Mom went too far. But to me, it means you don't respect my space, my decisions, my boundaries. Arthur was silent, looking down. I love you, he finally said. And I don't want to lose you. I love you too, Christina answered. But that's not enough. I need a partner who'll be on my side, and you're always on your mother's side. That's not true. It is, Arthur, and you know it. He stood there, not knowing what to say. Christina took the engagement ring off her finger and held it out to him. Take it. No, he stepped back. Don't. Arthur, take it. I've made my decision. He took the ring with shaking fingers and closed it in his fist. Maybe you'll think about it more? Give me a chance. I've been thinking for a long time, and I realized I don't want to live in constant fear that your mother will invade my life again. I don't want to fight for my own space in my own house. I won't let her in any more. You've said that many times. Arthur nodded, wiping his eyes with his hand. I understand. I'm sorry it turned out this way. Me too. He turned and slowly walked to the door. On the threshold, he looked back. If you change your mind, call me. Christina didn't answer. Arthur left, closing the door behind him. She sat alone in the silence, sat on the couch, hugged her knees. Inside was empty and strangely calm. There were no tears. There was only certainty that she'd made the right decision. The next day, she started canceling the wedding. She called the restaurant and explained the situation. They refunded part of the money. Part remained as a penalty, but Christina didn't care. She called the photographer, the DJ, the musicians, explained to everyone that the wedding was canceled. She sent messages to guests. Most responded with understanding. Her friend Alexis came over that evening, hugged her, said she was proud of her decision. "You did the right thing by not putting up with it," she said. "Better now than after the wedding." Christina nodded. "I know." Arthur called several times, sent messages asking to meet to talk. Christina replied briefly, "No, I've made my decision." A week later, he stopped writing. Linda left her a voicemail full of accusations and curses. Christina listened and deleted it. A month passed. Christina returned to work, closed several big deals. In the evenings, she sat in her house, drank tea on the terrace, watched the sunset. Sometimes she felt sad, sometimes calm. One day, Alexis asked, "Do you regret it?" "No," Christina answered honestly. "I only regret not seeing it sooner." "You did the right thing. Better alone than with someone who doesn't respect your boundaries." "That's what I think." 2 months later, Arthur married another woman. Christina found out by accident, saw a photo on social media, smiled sadly. Maybe it would work out differently for him with her. 6 months passed. Christina met a man at a real estate conference. His name was Daniel. He was an architect, worked for a large company. They struck up a conversation over coffee, exchanged contacts, started dating. Daniel was calm, attentive, respectful. When he first came to her house, he asked permission to take off his shoes. When she was making dinner, he offered to help but didn't intrude. "You have a beautiful house," he said. "You can tell you. Put your heart into it." "Thanks," Christina answered. "It's important to me that this is my space." "I understand. Everyone should have personal space." She looked at him and thought that maybe this time things would be different. But she wasn't going to rush. The lesson had been learned. Her house, her rules, her boundaries, and no one would cross them without permission ever again. A year had passed since the day she canceled the wedding. Christina stood on the terrace of her house, drinking morning coffee, watching the city wake up beyond the fence. Life went on, without drama, without scandals, without strangers in her closets. She didn't regret anything, because she'd made a choice in her own favor.